Shanghai GDG is a very interesting developer community.
I'm glad somebody has asked this question.
This is where the magic happens.
This is primarily a question and answer show. So if any of you out there would like to ask questions.
Okay, so this is the first or second episode of GDL IL. We're having today Nicolas Garnier, right?
Yes.
From the Drive team. So first, thank you very much for coming and having
You're welcome.
the precious time with us.
My pleasure.
I think today we'll just try to dive a bit into Drive and see what's the latest and greatest in that new cool product. And I guess maybe the best way to just dive into it, maybe if you could give us, the executive summary or some short intro of,
Right.
why Drive is so cool and what's new.
Yeah, definitely. So, as you probably know, we launched Drive. It was 2 months ago. Actually, more like 3 months ago. Drive is basically was kind of like a rebranding of Google Docs. It replaced Google Docs, let's say, and it replaced Google Docs, but it came with some changes and some added functionality. The first and major functionality is that we launched Google Drive with sync lines. Sync lines are these little tools that you install on your desktop. So for example, I have that right now on my Mac. You have the same for Windows, and it's simply going to synchronize a folder and upload all your files and keep your files in sync with Google Drive. So your files on your desktop basically are going to appear and be synced in the cloud. And that will also come, of course, with an iOS app and an Android app that you can use to view these files, on your Android and iOS device. So now your files are actually everywhere. In the past, Google Docs was mostly for Google native documents. We had PDF, but it was mostly for Google presentations, Google spreadsheets, etc. So now we've kind of opened the door to arbitrary files types that people can upload. And at the same time, we launched with something really cool that is mostly for developers, is the Google Drive SDK. And the Google Drive SDK basically allows you, there's a simple functionalities where you can just use that to programmatically download and upload files from and to Google Drive and manage files. There is you can modify the sharing information. There's a bunch of other things. We're going to go into a bit more details right after about certain specific cool tips and tricks that you can do with Google Drive. But what it came is especially a way, and this is really cool. This doesn't exist anywhere else. Is a way to deeply integrate your application with the Google Drive user interface. So you can now, for example, right-click on a PDF and instead of just opening it with the Google Drive viewer that we ship Google Drive with, you can open it with your app. So, for example, HelloFax is one of our partners that integrated an app for Drive. So what you do is you install HelloFax to your Drive, and now you can open a PDF with HelloFax and directly fax it. We forward you, so we redirect you to HelloFax, and automatically there HelloFax has access to your file, uploads it, and tells you, hey, do you want to fax that PDF that we just got from Drive? That's really cool.
Excellent. It really reminds me, I think at the early days of Chrome OS we had the file manager there, and now today we have basically Google Drive as the file management system over there. And then you are able to tap through the API to the right click and attach certain actions to this event. So basically what you're describing is the same thing, and I can do it in web apps and integrate them.
Yeah, really, it's
cool.
just like you have your your file explorer in your desktop. We wanted almost to replicate that, but on the cloud. So you can just open all your files with like web apps directly from your file explorer, which is Drive, and that's basically what we introduced with the new Drive SDK.
Nice, very nice. And currently, all the information on Drive is developer.google.com/drive, right? And you could download the SDK from there and see examples. What types of key feature I need to tackle as a novice developer that just start to play with Drive and see how could I integrate it? Yeah,
well, the first thing you need to know, kind of, be familiar with, is first OAuth 2, because OAuth 2.0. We use OAuth 2.0 for our authorization and authentication mechanism in Google Drive. We disabled. There used to be in the old days what we called client login, where you could use the username and the password of the user. That's not working anymore with our newer APIs, and actually that's in deprecation period. So even with the older APIs, I think this is going to shut down in like 2.5 years. So if you're using client client login today, you need to stop using that and move to OAuth 1 or OAuth 2. Mostly OAuth 2 because actually we also deprecated OAuth 1, sorry. So you really need to move to OAuth 2.0 and stop using client login.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first and foremost, I need to know how to use OAuth 2, and it's the good news there that it's much simpler than the days of OAuth 1. And then, okay, once I pass this, and we have actually the playground, right, that allow you as a developer to have less pain in that in them, right?
The OAuth 2 playground, you should check it out. So I'm also working on that project as well. It's my 20% project with 2 colleagues. We're building the OAuth 2 playground, which you can access it. I think it lives under developers.google.com/OAuth playground.
Great. We'll share all the links in the footnote, so don't worry about copying them. Great. So this is actually a playground in the web that lets me as a developer to play and see how could I achieve authentication and authorization quite quickly, right?
Yeah, lets you basically see how the OAuth 2 flow goes and exactly how it works. It shows you the HTTP request, what's going on, basically behind the scenes, what our client libraries does. But of course, if you're an everyday, a regular developer, most of the it's more likely that you're going to use our client libraries, which kind of abstract most of this for you. But it basically gets you familiar with the flow anyway, so it's important to know really well how the OAuth 2 flow works and understand the concept.
Of course.
And then it becomes really easy to see how you're going to use the client libraries.
And work with them. Right. So first and foremost, it's the OAuth part, and then second, what are the main features or type that you recommend the developer to start playing with?
Then it actually gets pretty easy once you've sorted out authorization. You got your OAuth 2 access tokens and refresh tokens. You can simply start using the API using our client libraries. So download one of our client libraries. I think we support 8 languages. There is Java, .NET, Ruby, Python, PHP, JavaScript, and probably forgetting at least 1 or 2.
Yeah, we'll share them.
It's online.
Yeah.
Just download that, and then you can set up. You can start using it right away. It's very simple. So the basic, operations in Google Drive are reading a file. First you would probably like to list files. So listing all the files that the user has in his Drive. Then you can, take a particular one and fetch the content. You can also upload a file, of course, to Google Drive, but you can also modify the access control list. There's also a bunch of operations. You can trash a file, delete a file, copy a file, if you like. Files also have revisions. So when you upload a file, you have a special API parameter that you can set up to tell us that this is a new revision to that file. So we keep the old revision, and people are usually going to access only the latest one.
Right.
That's going to be really cool. I think there's actually you can find lately there's been IDE for Google Drive launched, which is called Neutron Drive, and so it's really cool. It lets you basically edit your Java files that are in your drive. It's an IDE, and it keeps the revision, so you can always see go back to like a previous version of the file.
Very cool.
So
basically that's a very important point, right? For every file in Drive, we'll have history and revisions. So that's something extremely powerful that you as a developer could enhance and leverage when you are doing integration with Google Drive for your specific needs. And actually it's interesting that you mentioned cloud IDEs, because I wrote a blog post in the past about it, and I had all the usual suspect there, like Cloud9 and KDE and lots of others. And now this one is very interesting to see how they bundle basically the history with the revision ability. That's very cool.
Yeah, and actually Cloud9 demoed some very early Google Drive integration at Google I/O. So they are one of the partners we're working with, so they're still working on this. Hopefully it will come, at some point, when they've done that, sorted out. They're integrating with Drive, so it's really cool. You'll be able to see your Drive file, hopefully in Cloud9, and edit. So.
Nice. And maybe you could talk about, I know it's quite different and lots of developers have a hard time with it, about the separation between the file itself and the metadata that we'll have on each file.
Yes. So you're right to point that out. So when you're using the Drive API and you're listing the files, you don't get all the raw data of all the files right there. You get what we call metadata, so information, high-level information about the file. So we give you, for example, the file name, the MIME type is very important, but also a bunch of information like is it starred, is it trashed, is it, so how old is it, last time it's been modified, that kind of like metadata. And we also give you links to the files. So one is called the download URL, and the download URL is actually the URL that's going to contain the actual file content. So it's the URL you want to fetch if you want to download the JPEG content of the file, if it's an image, if it's a JPEG, or the PDF content itself.
That's very cool. Do you have some, and I know we didn't spoke about it in the past, but some cool apps or new apps that you saw that integrated? I mean, you mentioned Cloud9, but maybe there are others that people could look around and see nice integrations?
Others. Actually, all the apps are currently listed on the Chrome Web Store. So if you're in Drive, the way to find that Chrome Web Store link is, you open the wheel on the top right, the configuration wheel. You have a link called Manage Apps. You can click that opens the little UI, and then you click on Get More Apps. And that's where all the deeply integrated Google Drive apps are listed. Nice. So there's actually approximately maybe 70 or 80 at that point.
Nice.
There's a wide variety. You'll find image editors. So one of the really cool ones, for example, is Pixlr Editor. It's actually a very complete feature-wise one. So if you install Pixlr Editor on your Drive, you'll be able to right-click on any image and edit it, and it's gonna pop up basically or redirect you to Pixlr Editor, which is kind of like a fully fledged image editor. It handles layers and filters.
Very nice. So basically, I see if you go to the Chrome Web Store under Collections, we have Drive apps, and you could see all the great apps that you could tap and learn from them how they did a nice integration with Google Drive. Yeah,
HelloFax, of course, I just mentioned, allows you to fax documents. So you can fax PDF, you can fax Google Documents. Another cool app is Balsamiq Mockups. If you're a developer, maybe Balsamiq Mockups lets you quickly create mockups. So kind of like a hand drawing of some UI. If you're designing a UI, you can kind of like drop UI elements. It looks like hand drawing. But you can do that really quickly. So if you're designing websites or apps, you should basically use Balsamiq Mockups. It's really cool. There are other image editor out there. Floor Planner lets you build. Floor Planner is actually really impressive. If you want to use Floor Planner, lets you build a floor plan of your apartment or your house, and they have this cool like 3D view generator and everything. So it's really complete. You put your sofa in the room, that kind of stuff. It's nice. There's like some notepad editor. Notepads, some little text editor. Zoho has integrated with us. They were a major partner as well. They've launched their integration about a month ago. So they integrated Zoho Writer, Zoho Sheet, and Zoho Show. What it does basically lets you open any Google document and export that to their basically editor. So if you prefer to use the Zoho editor, go ahead. You have a Google document, you can export it in the Zoho format with one click. You can also create new Zoho Writer files, Zoho Show files, Zoho Sheet files directly from Google Drive, and basically manage all these files directly from Google Drive, just like you would do with like Google Documents and Google Spreadsheet and everything.
Right. Very cool.
Oh, Lucidchart, another cool partner where you create these chart diagrams. If you want to quickly create a diagram to, map some idea, you use Lucidchart. It's really cool and really sweet. And one also other partner that we've worked with is MindMeister. MindMeister is also, they have a really deep integration. They also demoed at Google I/O. They were on stage with me, with actually Cloud9 and also Polaris, which is an iOS app. MindMeister is this, brainstorming mind mapping application. So you create a mind map. People who are familiar with mind map, they will like it. It's really cool because they have this real-time collaboration engine. So if two people open the same mind map at the same time, you could create a mind map. It's on your Drive, share it with a friend, just like you do with the Google Docs. And if both of them open it at the same time, boom, you're in real-time collaboration.
And we have 2 copies of it, so each user got its own Drive copy of it, or?
It will appear in both Drive users' Drive list, basically. but
There's
it's
one
actually the
source
same
too.
file, just
Yeah.
like a Google document.
Right, just
where
pointer.
it's just everybody hits, I mean, you know, edits the same data in real-time collaboration.
Right, nice. So yeah, it was excellent. I wonder what you could share with us about, you know, the future. So obviously it's very exciting, and I know it's a bit tricky, but things that you could share with us, you know, maybe on the long term.
Definitely. I mean, I can't go into many details. You know, we don't like to do that very much at Google. But something we've said we're going to work on is we're working on push notifications for the API. So you'll be able to be notified, for example, when a file changes instead of, you know, the other. Right now, if you want to know when a file changes exactly, it's really hard. You have to, I mean, it's really resource consuming. You have to pull the file, for example, every minute to detect when the file hasn't been modified.
Yeah.
We'll introduce in the future something we're working on, push notification. That's really cool. And other than that, there's a big work on improving the discoverability of apps and the experience for users of how to find their app. But I can't go into many details. Basically, as you know, right now it's a bit tricky to find apps. You have to go to the little wheel on the top right, manage apps, get more apps, and then you get redirected to the Chrome Web Store. Yeah. Which personally I find confusing for some users, because if you're a Firefox or an Internet Explorer user, you can still install these apps.
It's not trivial that you'll go to.
But these guys
Chrome
are
Web
like,
Store.
hey, I'm on the Chrome Web Store. Why am I there? I'm a Firefox developer.
Yeah.
I don't want to install, you know, a Chrome app. What is this? It's actually Drive apps. They can still install it. They still get the button to install them. But some users get a bit confused, and something we're going to work more generally on. Can go into many details, but we're going to try to make it, you know, less steps to get to the list of apps, better user experience to find apps, better visibility for apps to be shown to the user.
Great. So it was extremely helpful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And hopefully we'll see some those great things that you spoke about quite soon.
Yeah, hopefully quite soon.
Excellent.
I hope that too.
Thank you very much.